Hey everybody, welcome to video 2 of my journey here at Moffitt Cancer Center. Before I go into this video today, I do want to go ahead and mention that I'm totally not a doctor. I want to try and give this in layman's terms as much as I can because I am a layman in this situation. And if anybody has more insight into what I say, please feel free to share it in the comments. And some of this information is definitely going to be incomplete, and some of it may be straight up wrong. So keep that in mind. This is just the way I understand the situation and what I've learned from my doctors and from doing a little reading on my own. So what I want to do is explain why am I here, why I'm at Moffitt Cancer Center, what's the treatment that I'm going through, what's the dealio, why am I going to stay in one floor of the hospital for 16 days to a month. Seems crazy, right? Still does to me. So I'm going to do some basic term defining real quick just to get it out of the way so that we're all on the same page, and then I'll explain the actual treatment that I'm going through. First off, cancer. Most everybody knows it sucks. It's a bad disease, when in fact it's a whole bunch of different diseases depending on where it manifests first. It's horrible, but yeah, that's the one of the first kind of misconceptions that all cancers are kind of the same. They're all treated really differently. Some of which are much easier to treat. I actually have one that's generally relatively easy to treat. But the hallmarks of cancer are it's cells that have decided to just keep growing. Your body tells them not to keep growing and to die at a particular time. Every cell in your body has a planned timeline. The cells of your blood need to just waste away and get purged from the body, and then your body makes new blood. It's a great system. Wherever cancer manifests itself, that's where cells have decided to just not listen to that. And they say, hey, we're just going to keep dividing, and they form a little colony called a tumor. And and in the worst case scenario, they start spreading to other parts of the body by diffusion from that tumor. That's when we start getting into stuff like stage 3, which is what I have, because I have testicular cancer. It managed to spread to my lungs, my liver, and my lymph nodes, and it's still in all 3 of those places. So that's cancer in a nutshell. Cells of your own body that have decided to just say, piss off, nervous system, I'm going to keep dividing, and I'm not going to die. So yeah, chemotherapy, which most people understand a pretty good amount of chemotherapy. It's using toxic substances to destroy cancer cells. It's somewhat controversial, I know. I decided to go this route because testicular cancer is kind of almost a solved problem. They pretty much know how to quote-unquote cure it because what they have now, chemotherapy-wise, works 98% of the time, first time. I wasn't so lucky, but these things happen. I'm part of the 2%, you know? So chemotherapy is using toxic substances, most commonly, I don't know about most commonly. See, that's where I'm going to start saying wrong things. So when I start putting my own experience and say, oh yeah, it's probably what everybody has happened. So what I've gotten hit with is stuff that contains, for instance, platinum. You wouldn't want to eat it. Maybe wear it on your wrist. That's cool. Wear it around your neck. That's nifty. Don't eat it. Don't inject it into your bloodstream unless you have cancer, in which case, it's going to kill those cells, along with a lot of other stuff. Many people become immunosuppressed because of it. On a normal chemotherapy treatment that happened to me, I had to get shots to improve my white blood cell count because the same treatment that was killing cancer cells was also killing my white blood cells off, which are, of course, pretty darn important. That's a big part of your immune system. Most people know that. So that's cancer and chemotherapy. Now, why am I here? I went through 3 months of chemotherapy, and I was not cured of cancer or put into remission or anything. So what happened? Basically, I had tumors or cancer cells that were resistant. Stronger, tougher. I'm a tough guy. I've got tough cancer. Whatever. It's no big deal. And the general route to go here is to fight bigger guns with bigger guns. It's just what works. So what we're going to do, and what we started actually last night, is hitting my body and thus the cancer cells with ridiculously high doses of chemotherapy, like crazy high doses, in the hopes that it will kill the cancer cells. And like I mentioned before, where the white blood cells were dying out because of the chemotherapy, this amount of toxic substances is actually going to pretty much wipe out my immune system entirely. Like the whole thing. I will have to get my vaccines again. Everything is just going to go blank slate. It sounds pretty scary, which it is, to be honest. But that's the best chance we've got to just, wiping out all those cancer cells too. So the way that they do this is something called bone marrow transplant. And if you hear me use the term stem cell transplant, same thing. Stem cell transplant, bone marrow transplant, same thing. I actually prefer stem cell transplant because there's no bone marrow actually being transplanted anywhere in the process for me. What they actually did last week was use this. Well, I won't show you because it's kind of gross. I've got what's called a central line. It's two big old tubes hanging out of my chest. They use that to pull the blood from my body, filter out stem cells, and then put my blood back in my body. Why do they do this? They wanted to collect the stem cells. The stem cells are progenitor cells that are used to make everything else, including major parts of your immune system. So what they're going to do is they've started giving me the chemo, give me a couple days off, and then put the stem cells back in, my own stem cells. I didn't even need a donor. I was able to do it myself because besides cancer, I'm actually super healthy. Ironic, I know. And that's going to be what allows me to survive and rebuild my immune system after this chemotherapy. So that's what we're doing. And the reason I have to stay here on this floor is because it's specially designed to make sure that I'm safe while my immune system is compromised hugely. Because my white blood cell count, my hemoglobin, my platelets, everything about my blood is going to get real rough. At a little low point, and then as the stem cells are introduced and start to get reintegrated into my body, it'll start to rebuild everything. So yeah, that's why I'm here. I hope that kind of clears things up a little bit. I want to do some videos on kind of the routine here. As I'm still getting into that, so that might be a couple of days, and whatever else. If you guys have any suggestions, please comment here on YouTube, Facebook, CaringBridge, wherever, however you got here. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you'd like to see. I thought this might be helpful. And yeah, that's really all I want to talk to today. If you'd like anything clarified, please post. If I don't know the answer, I'll straight up ask a doctor. I've got access to them like 24/7. So if you guys are curious about anything, especially if it pertains to, once again, my particular situation, it's going to be easy for me to get the answers to those questions, no problem. If I don't already know it, then maybe just forgotten it. Because honestly, I'm doing all these in one take because screw it. I hate editing. It's boring. But you know what I don't hate? You guys. I love you all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.